Welcome, Cyreil. Are you there?
I am, in fact, here. Hello.
Okay, so we're gonna start this campaign, this session, in your cottage in Watan, which is a small city, specifically one of the very few tropical cities in the desert region of Kaino. So Kaino is a huge tech metropolis, essentially, in comparison to most Payan cities, and you've been there before, but probably not much to your liking. You are pretty much on the outskirts of the outskirts of the desert, to say the least. So you're pretty out there. And you've been in this cabin for some odd while now. I mean, you built this with your bare hands, right? So you've been living here and gardening and keeping to yourself for a long time. However, a few contracts have flown through as of recently from a very specific visitor, but that's not really of any pertinence right now. You are free to prepare and do anything that you would like under the assumption that a contract here may appear at any moment, but otherwise you are free to just live on your life right now.
I imagine I would probably just go through my daily routine. He's fairly scheduled, so down to about the hour-ish for what he's doing and such. I've probably pre-packed a bag that I plan to take with me that has all of my generic travel amenities that's sitting by the door. I'm studying.
Studying, beautiful. If you were to pack a bag ready for some form of faraway journey, or in general, knowing that you go out pretty often when it comes to contracts, perhaps you may get a contract once a week, or maybe once a month, or maybe you won't see one for 3 months. But knowing, what kind of travel bags do you have prepared generically?
Several journals.
Okay.
I probably have a spell book that I take with me. All of my adornments that help me with my casting, and probably generic rations, water. That's probably about it.
All right, beautiful. So far, it seems like it's been a clear day, and it doesn't seem like there's going to be anything exciting. Now, as you walk around, I'm going to say that there's a mirror on one of your walls, the wall of your choice. As you peer into the mirror, you see your reflection. What is your physical appearance, and what would I know from you from just a glance?
I am an angelic cambion. I have kind of tan skin from being out in the desert for as long as I have been. I have these very large feathered white wings. The whites of my eyes are black, and the iris and pupil are all one, and it's just a very bright white. I am fairly average sized, around like 5'10", and I wear like a turtleneck, like a tight turtleneck, and kind of flowy pants and a little cape, and I kind of look permanently pissed off.
Makes sense. Sounds like Cyreil. I think a lot of people here know who Cyreil is already, if you've never heard of him, but this is Cyreil. And with that, with your travel bags ready, and it feels like the sun is about to careen down over the horizon. It hasn't quite touched down on the horizon yet, but it's about to touch there, and you hear a knock.
I open the door.
As you open it in front of you, there is a pretty average-looking human standing in front of you, and the kind of young adult boy looks a little bit nervous and tugging on his sleeve. And as you open the door, he goes, "Oh, hi. My name is Orion."
Are you the one I'm waiting for?
Yes, I am. And I have a few other people with me, and I don't want to make it weird or anything. Oh, here. And he hands you the little crystal that you are aware of.
Well, that's good. I was hoping to not be bothered by anyone else, so I'm Cyreil. I don't know if you got told that already.
I know who you are, yes. And as that happens, as you mentioned the non-bothering of people, you notice the two others over his shoulder, kind of slowly beginning to peer through.
I just kind of side-eye them and say, is 3 people really necessary?
They're kind of friends. We're friends. They're really good friends of ours. And he steps to the side, and the young boy with the small yellow jacket, kind of floating as he walks. Like, he walks, that turns into a run, that turns into a slight levitation, as he basically just shoulder checks you in the stomach so hard that he's trying to hug you. He wraps himself around you. You've never met this boy. You have no idea who this is.
I kind of freeze for a second and then look back up at Orion. Why is there a child, and why is it doing that?
And he kind of stops for a second. He puts his fist over his mouth and he goes, he likes people a lot, new people especially. And the young adult woman kind of walks up, puts a hand over his shoulder. It's weird to see you here. How have you been doing?
Fine. Why are you bringing your kid? You know this is a dangerous mission, right?
And she turns her shoulder to Orion, and Orion shakes his head. This is what I was trying to tell you. And Ari kind of looks you up and down and takes a moment, says, really? Do you know who I am?
No. What was your name?
As this happens, Oliver lets go for a moment, takes a second, takes a step back, kind of receding into his own coat, tucking his chin to his chest, walks back, and he goes, I see. And he fiddles with a little bit of magi matter in his fingers, in between his hands, and just kind of plays with it a little bit.
Am I missing something here? You're just supposed to bring me to where I need to go, right? Like,
Orion steps in and says, yep, that's all that's supposed to happen. We have a trek across the desert to the eastern side of Kaino to Biat. That's where the ship will be.
Okay, and we can leave now?
Sure. Yeah. He just walks out. He doesn't seem to have any carriage, any vehicle, anything. He looks like he's just planning on walking at this point, which is crazy for what is essentially going to be maybe a 3-day travel.
I've never known Alex to be one to skimp out and walk across the desert. Am I being punished?
No. And he turns his head over his shoulder and he says, this was kind of a personal request from me.
Okay.
While walking through the desert, of course, you have 2 points of fatigue. Unless you have preparation for this.
I don't think I would have assumed to be walking across the desert.
Are you wearing any armor pieces right now?
Just garments.
Just garments? So as you guys are walking, you're just kind of trudging across these burning sands. There's mirage in the distance. The air hurts to breathe. It is so hot, especially in a place like yours. As you guys are walking along, Orion's like, oh my goodness, it was so cold in your house and I didn't want to say anything, and now it's so hot, and oh, I should have came prepared. And the young boy, Oliver, reaches back a little bit, kind of falls back behind Ari and closer to you, and just taps on your shin. He's casting a spell. Would you like to react?
Can I try to not aggressively, but slap his hand away?
Yes. So Ollie's just gonna let you do that. You're gonna slap his hand away. But as it happens, you watch as this kind of careening string of yellow lights kind of slowly begins to swarm around you and surround your body, up your neck and kind of across your chin and your back and around your wings, until it looks like you're kind of you have hanging lights on you, just dancing around you. These cute, beautiful little fairy lights and wisps just kind of dancing around. And once that happens, the sun doesn't feel as hot anymore. You are no longer suffering from fatigue.
Oh. Your child has some tricks, I see.
Oliver looks over his shoulder and he says, I'm sorry. And he speeds back up so that he can stand behind Ari. And Ari whips you a glare. A few tricks. It's not saying much. Recognize mercy when you see it.
I glare back at her.
Daggers.
Mercy from what?
She looks down at Oliver. And then she looks forward and she keeps walking. And as that happens, for just a moment, you watch Orion looks at you in a joyous, kind of like happy-ish way, kind of just in the way that Orion is just generically happy-go-lucky. But he turns over his shoulder, and there's something in the twinkle of his eye that just feels off, that feels weird, that feels wrong. Almost like he's looking through you. And in that moment, you hear that voice that you have heard for so long, whispering in your ear. You hear a little bit of silver behind your earrings. And it says, that one will find us. Be careful. Don't let them know. The boy is strong. The woman is strong. The man is strong.
Can I talk back to the voice, like in my own head?
There's not really much that you found. You've never really found a pattern on these things. They seem relatively non-responsive to anything you do.
I'm just gonna fall a few extra feet behind them. And I'm just gonna study them and the way they move.
Go ahead and make an awareness test. Over how long would you like to do this? I will give you more points of favor the longer you spend.
You said this was a 3-day journey?
Roughly, yes.
Probably like 8 hours.
All right, go ahead and take 4 points of favor on an awareness test.
27.
Well, it doesn't seem like anything too crazy is happening. I mean, to say the least, the young man walks very casually, but seems to have strong eyes. Very good at checking, perceiving, and looking. It seems like he very quietly and very subtly has his head on a swivel. He does try to make conversation every once in a while, and he seems to be very good at moving a conversation where he wants it to be. The woman is extremely stern. She seems to have stubbornness even in her heels as she walks. She doesn't seem to be fazed by anything. The heat does not affect her in any way that you can tell. Nothing seems to affect her in any way that you can tell. And she holds very tightly onto the young boy. And the boy seems to glare at you every once in a while, not in a malicious way, not in a mean way, but kind of in a almost longing way from what you can tell. Almost like he misses somebody. But you're not really sure what it is about him. He floats around, he levitates a lot, and after just a little bit of perceivance and watching him, you realize that his magical power is actually very extreme. Even from just the few things that you've seen, even just from taking a very basic spell, but seeing just how so effortless, almost accidental he casts them, you realize that you're looking at someone very serious. Archmage at least.
I'm going to shoot an ice shard kind of beside them, and I want to watch to see how they all like physically react to that.
As the ice shard kind of flows by, I'm going to say it's going to fly by roughly in this trajectory, you would say?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you go ahead and roll damage for me real quick?
It's a 3.
A 3?
Yeah.
All right. So you watch as this tiny little ice shard, almost like this icicle that's like yay long, smaller than anything. Like it's about as harmful as an ice cube could be if you threw it kind of hard. Flies by, and you watch in faster than you can blink as Ari's hand, her left hand, comes out, grabs the icicle, and as she crushes it in her hand, you feel it almost like it's coming up through your chin. Take three chill damage.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And once again, she locks her chin to her shoulder and she looks over at you. Funny trick. What was that?
Sorry, I thought I saw something in that direction.
Thought you saw something in the middle of the desert with 3 people in front of you? Interesting.
It's amazing what the desert can do to play tricks on you.
You're not very aware then. Might even call you oblivious.
You sure could. If you wanted to. Doesn't make you right.
As she's walking forward, she moves her glare away from you and just looks over the horizon and says, I almost miss our talk, Cyreil. Almost.
I'm sure if I could know what you were talking about, I wouldn't.
As a weird, tense, awkward silence begins to kind of fill the room, inflate against your chest for a moment, Orion basically pops it and does a physical hand gesture where he goes, bink, and he goes, so how often do you train?
When the job requires it. I study a lot.
Study? What do you study?
Magic.
My bad. Should have been more specific. Cryomancy, I assume?
Did Alex tell you that?
Nope, just a hunch. He looks over at Ari's hand that still has a little bit of like ice crystals that are slowly beginning to fade away. And then he looks at you and all of your attire. He goes, just a hunch.
Yeah, cryomancy. Does it mean anything to you?
Not necessarily to me, and he kind of like goes through his pockets and he pulls out like, basically he opens up like one tiny jean pocket. This dude has jeans on, which is really interesting for anyone in this day and age because jeans doesn't not exist, but it's a weird statement to say the least. You watch as he pulls like a spell book out of his pocket and he puts it back. He pulls like a small tiara out of his pocket, puts it back. He pulls like a giant gemstone, like borderline a rock, puts that back, and then he grabs a scroll and he goes, there it is. My bad, sorry. And he kind of tosses it over at you. It's got like this a faint glowing light blue text, and as it comes near you, it feels frigid.
What is it?
It's just a little bit of literature. If you study, I thought you might find it interesting. I know that a lot of places, Kaino has really, really good museums. I don't know how often you see BI. I know that there's a lot of really good literature there, but something like that is really, really hard to find. That one's probably, I don't know, it's only like 3,000 years old.
I'll take it and kind of flip through it a little bit to kind of get an idea of what it is.
Reading through it, it is in a format of text that you are not very used to. Almost like the dialect is off. It's also in Elvish, so you can't really tell. There's little pieces of Utopian. Okay, let me say it like this. It's almost like a mix of Utopian and Elvish back in a time where Utopian was kind of getting developed. So you can recognize pieces of text here and there, but it's very predominantly in Elvish. But it's in a Utopian alphabet. Do you know how to read it? You know Elvish?
No. Do I look like I would?
I don't know what that means. Sounds kind of racist. I don't know, maybe racist. And Oliver peeks like a very timid eye at you and puts a light out, cups his hand, points his palm towards you with the orb in there, and he just kind of very slowly flicks it to you with 2 fingers, and it slowly begins to travel to you.
Yet if you're gonna cast spells on me, I'd appreciate knowing what they are first.
Oliver tucks his chin down and he sits up, kind of like getting his breath, like he's like puffing his chest out a little bit, and he goes, it's a translation light. It's kind of like a flashlight, but it'll tell you what the words say when you shine it on the scroll. Sorry.
It's a fun trick.
Thanks.
I'll use it.
And as just as he said, you're holding the scroll out as you're walking, and when the orb goes over, it maneuvers over, and as if like you were shining a UV light on it, it turns to flat Utopian, modern dialect and everything.
That's cool as fuck.
Do you say that out loud?
Nope, not at all.
Orion heard it, even if you don't.
God damn it.
And Orion kind of smirks at you. And he gives you a little bit of a, not a wink, but he basically gives you like the equivalent of a wink with his eyebrows.
I glare at him.
He looks at Ari, looks at you, and smiles. The scroll seems to be mostly about ancient techniques. So like back in the time when like, you know a lot of this, but back when evocation, array, wake, and enchantment were basically the only arts, these are like techniques that the ancient dwarves use to basically facilitate those transactions in the Aether. So this is like before the elves even got a hold of magic, before illusion was a thing, before any of that was a thing. Back when elementalism was basically the only form of mancy. All of these like scriptures are the various ways that they first pierced the Aether in the first place, and specifically from the pretext of a cryomancer, a brother of three, a pyromancer and electromancer. And this is the cryomancer's basically journaling, and he seemed to be the one that was kind of facilitating the formulaic things, if that makes sense. He was kind of the one behind the math. And it's only like a single excerpt. Like you can't even tell if this is outside of a book. It's a little bit discontextual, but it kind of feels like it belongs in a larger excerpt.
That's so wild. My eyes kind of go big for a sec as I realize what this is. And I look back up at Orion and I'm like, just some knickknacks, huh?
Nothing cool. Just a thing here and there. I thought you might like it. But if you want to see something like that, you want to see something real cool like that, you should talk to Oliver. Oliver kind of looks up at him and then looks at you. Big eyes. Oliver's got the
You're
really
a weird
good stuff.
kid.
Is that a bad thing?
I don't know. Is it a bad thing?
No. He looks over at the scroll, and then he looks at you. And he looks at the scroll, and then he kind of looks down. The other two guys who wrote those, their notes are really cool too. I have the other two.
Well, if you're gonna throw them away for any reason, just point me in the direction of the trash can, I guess.
He's walking at the standard pace that Ari and Orion are walking at right now, and he kind of like his feet lift up off the ground a little bit. And he just starts walking on nothing as he slows down to your pace to match and walk next to you. As he slowly puts his hands together and does like a little rainbow formation over his head and produces the two scrolls out of what seems like his bag that, again, his bag is extremely more spacious than it should be, but he just pulls the two scrolls out, opens them up, and just shows them in front of you. They just levitate in front of your face. And he just kind of like closes in and he looks at them with you. And he looks at you, and then he looks at them, and he looks at you, and then he looks at them.
Interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. How long have you been doing magic for?
Started training when I was a teenager, about 15 years ago.
You're really powerful for only 15 years.
Some would say that, maybe.
I would.
That's odd coming from you, but thanks.
If we ever have time after the contract, or during the contract, I can show you all my cool stuff. I have a lot of magic stuff, and I think you would like it.
If you have anything useful.
He looks really awkwardly, kind of like shifting around uncomfortably and nervous. And he kind of like, you watch something like kind of get up to his lips, and then he chokes it back for a second, and then it hits the top of his mouth, and then he chokes it down for a second, and then he finally says, "Do you like coloring?" And in that moment, like the moment that he says the final word of that sentence, Ari cracks a whip of eclair at you. Like you're not 100% sure, but you're pretty sure this might be a siphon effect. You might be dying right now. The stare is insane, like nothing you've ever seen before. Your life leaves your body for the quickest moment, and she's holding it in her hand only with her eyes.
I gulp. And I look back at Oliver. I
make a resolve test.
Oh god. 17.
17? I have bad news, Cyreil. You suddenly have an extreme infatuation with coloring.
I love coloring. Oh, so much.
Ari's look softens up only enough so that you can breathe again. As she looks over, but you can feel the eyes in the back of her head, as almost like her ears perk up and she's watching you.
Do you have anything with snowflakes?
Snowflakes? Yeah. And he kind of produces, like, you watch as this beautiful array of crystals, ice crystals, snow, and all of this like beautiful scenery around you turns real for a moment, like almost like there's a blizzard around you, and you're in the eye of a storm as it kind of twirls around, and it all comes together as he summons a piece of parchment in front of him, and all of the ice just kind of molds into the paper and turns into this small coloring page, and he sets it down in his hands and he holds it with 2 hands. Do you want different ones, or do these work?
No, that's good.
Okay. We don't have to do it right now if you don't want me. It's just I was just asking, like, in general, if you...
I don't really know how to walk and color at the same time. But maybe when we're on the boat.
As you say that, you slowly begin to hover off the ground. You may make a will or a strength test to attempt to impede on this action.
25.
25? As you attempt to resist, he just gives in. And you drop on the ground and goes, sorry, force of habit.
I kind of like pinch the bridge of my nose. Tell me. Tell me first.
Yeah, I don't always do it on purpose. It just kind of happens. I'm sorry.
On the boat.
On the boat. Anything else you'd like to do for the entire 8 hours?
I think at some point during the walk, I would probably ask them, so did Alex just hire you, or do you know them well?
Orion pipes up. Everyone's kind of gone back to normal formation at this point, softened up. Ari doesn't have an RBF. Ari only has an RBF, and then it gets worse from there, essentially. But she's kind of given you like a more respectable level of RBF instead of like a mean one, if that makes sense. And Orion's Ari kind of gives you like a in the most like serving bitch way possible. She kind of says, "Nice." Orion kind of like prances around a little bit as he a lot of times he'll like turn around to look at you when he's talking and walk backwards. And I'll say, I've known him for quite a while.
And they treat you well?
Well, I mean, as well as Alex treats people, but I mean, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
You immediately sympathize with that. I don't think you've ever seen Alex smile.
No, that makes sense. I thought maybe, friends would be different, but...
Are you not friends with them?
I don't think they would call us that, no. I mean, they hire me, and then I do the job.
They speak very highly of you.
They do?
Yeah. Oh, should I have not said that? Was I not supposed to say anything? Ari, was I supposed to say something? And Ari looks at him, like with the why do I care face, and then says, what? And Orion just kind of rolls his eyes and he goes, I think they like you.
Well, that's good to know, I guess.
He chokes back a little bit of a giggle. What do you think of Alex?
They're very respectable. They do good work.
Aren't they?
And they're trustworthy. What are you doing?
Nothing. Well, we're almost there, so don't want to take up too much of your time. Go ahead and make a memory test.
10.
10? It's been like 9 hours. There's no way you're almost there.
We're almost there?
Yeah. Look. And you see over the horizon, there's kind of a horizon. You see like the little tiny speck of that is beyond this giant mechanized city. Like you can even see the pyramids over the horizon. There's no way you're more than 3-4 kilometers away.
I don't think that's right. It's a 3-day travel. I've done it countless times.
Ari looks back at you with a raised eyebrow. Doesn't look right. Did you want to fix it?
I don't know how you expect me to fix time working differently.
It's not time working differently. You really are unaware, aren't you? And as that happens, you watch as the sand beneath your feet begins to unravel and move a little bit and almost shake, almost as you begin to sink for a moment. But before that happens, the sand just kind of dissipates and falls. And as the sand falls beneath you and your feet begin to just let go, you realize that you are on a floating platform, maybe 5-10 meters in the air. And as you look down at the ground below you, the ground is zooming by at unbelievable speeds, as it becomes apparent that you have not been walking at all.
Why?
Oliver kind of looks down and he says, "It's a lot faster."
You could have just told me.
I didn't think you liked it when I casted magic, so sorry.
So you thought the best course of option would be to cast more magic and trick me.
I mean,
and you thought I would be happier with that outcome.
Oh no, this was before we had the other thing, before we talked about it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna not talk to them for the rest of it.
Right. And not very long, maybe another 15 minutes or so, you feel your feet very lightly begin to touch the sand. And Ollie goes, "Oh, you're, ground.
I will attempt to transition as best as possible.
It's not hard. You're not still flying. You're just like very slowly being touched to the ground. In front of you are the gigantic gates of Kaino. Huge, giant metallic structures everywhere. Pyramids that have been mixed with sandstone and giant metals. You have the undead walking around. You have automatons walking around. A huge, beautiful city in glowing lights. Beautiful art, beautiful technology, all types of things, and a place that you probably hate to be at, realistically. There's a lot of people. This is New York streets level population here.
I kind of like heavy sigh as we walk in. I'll tuck my wings in as close as I can.
Ari looks around and says, "This looks like Disto."
Huh?
Oh. Apologies. Nothing.
No. Wait, no. What did you say?
Nothing that concerns you. Thought that was quite clear.
I wouldn't recommend being so frivolous with your words if it doesn't concern me.
Odd time to be so observant.
Where is Disto?
I think you would know. Wouldn't you? Cyreil.
I'll look away.
You don't remember anything about me.
I've never met you before in my life.
You don't remember having tea with me?
No.
You don't remember disobeying my commands?
No, but I can imagine why I would.
Boy, do I remember you. Hard to forget.
I'll take it as a compliment.
It's not. She kind of looks up a little bit, looks at the sky, kind of like puts a single finger across her eyebrows, almost as she's like holding something in, and then takes a deep sigh and says, "I guess it's time that we go in. I would hate to do something that I regret." And then she punches you.
Ow.
You watch as, like, in a moment's flash, she falls back, does this back step. You watch as sand kicks up, almost like covering all of the clones and everything. You watch this huge puff of dust and sand pop up, and you watch her as, like, sand's, like, in your eyes. The entire world around you has turned this weird tinge of yellow, almost sepia. She puts 2 fingers on your ribs, looks at you, glares, does a little like punch, like a little jab, and you feel like you haven't been breathing for 4 hours. Your lungs are in so much pain. All of the oxygen has left your body, and you feel like you just fractured a rib. And before the sand can even clear, she's back in front of Ollie.
The fuck was that for?
Just a reminder. Thought you might remember me by that. It's worth a shot.
Look, whatever you think you know about me, I don't know.
Ari looks forward and looks at Orion and says, "It was therapeutic, though." And Orion goes, "Ari, please don't. You gotta stop. No, we don't." She's like, "It might have worked. It could have worked." And Orion's like, "Ari, please. I just calmed him down." And so the gates kind of await you. The guards let you in after only just a brief glance at your entourage before taking you to the ports of Biot onto a large ship. And as you go to board, as you guys make your way through the town, is there anything you want to do in town before we get there, I should ask?
I think realistically, I'm just trying to get through the town as fast as possible. I don't want to be there.
Make an awareness test.
10.
10? You do hear a little bit of chatter, a little bit of rumoring about some princess, some heir, somebody important disappearing, but ultimately that is pretty much ramshackled and completely ignored by the face that you see on the ship as they pull out the gangplank, and Alex looks down at you and says, "So you made it?"
As promised.
And you met my friends?
You hold very interesting company, Alex. Next time, send one.
Can't handle a few people. You can freeze oceans, but you can't handle a social matter. Is that what I'm hearing?
Do you expect anything different?
I try to.
You should stop.
Ari's snickering. They all encroach on the gangplank. Up the gangplank and onto the deck.
I join.
You ready for a good day's travel? Prepared? Healthy? Hungry?
I'm well prepared. Ready as I'll ever be.
Oh yes, you would never need anything. So self-sustainable.
You say it as if it's a bad thing.
Never. It looks good on you.
Thanks.
Ari kind of begins to approach and says, "How long do we have? How long is this ride gonna be?" And Alex kind of pulls up their sleeve, and you watch this giant metal cuff with a huge screen on top of it. Says 6 days, 12 hours, 32 minutes. There's sleeping quarters for everyone here. If you're interested in that. Or if you're the boy, then you can sleep in air, I guess.
Down to the minute? What happens when things, something goes wrong? Are you going to recalculate the whole thing?
Don't need to. It's correct. Trust me.
Okay. I'll be timing you.
Ari is kind of blocking your vision towards Orion, but Orion tips over a little bit to see you past Ari and goes, like big eyes, nods head, like, yeah.
I know. It's called banter. Have you ever heard of it?
Orion kind of deflates for a second. Do I know banter? Have I heard of banter? I'm like the banter guy. What the dang it. Have I heard of banter? And Ari literally busts out laughing. Orion, what am I gonna do with you? I don't know what to do with you. All right, take your seats. You have 6 days of travel, as long as nothing is levitating. So after a little while of potentially coloring with Ollie will invite you to that.
I'll join begrudgingly.
You realize there's a lot of whimsy that even I'd imagine you as a person would struggle to apprehend. His vast level of knowledge, understanding, and intellect is almost befuddling how much he really does know. And he has this kind of upbeat, cheering nature about him when he gets into things. He's obviously very nervous, very shy, very timid, but as he begins to talk to you, he gets excited and he gets rambly. After usually about 5 to 10 minutes of rambling about usually a subject that you would take care for, such as, the history of magics or where the magics came from and all of the various study topics that you normally do, he would stop and he would silence himself and he'd go, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go off.
No, that one was good. You can keep going on that one.
You guys are kind of under the deck right here, under the stairs. This is where the kitchen, kind of the pantry is right now. So you're actually like right here, but underneath the deck. And he goes,
Okay.
Really? Like, actually?
I'll squint at him. Yeah.
So, and he just goes on. He absolutely goes on. And you can see that, like, as he talks more and rambles more pages manifest, and like more crayons and more coloring utensils manifest, and he just colors like substantially more pictures the faster he talks. Interestingly enough, as he begins to color and use these crayons seemingly subconsciously, designs a picture, outlines it, and colors it almost in a formation as if presenting the topic he's talking about. So as he presents the dragons, you get this kind of like clip art style dragon on a piece of parchment that he colors in as he talks about it. So his rambles are kind of eluded by these great pictures, and every once in a while he'll throw in at you to hand you to draw and things like that. And again, it doesn't seem like he's aware that he's doing a lot of this.
The illustrations are actually really helpful, but I'll never admit it.
He just rambles on. How long would he be willing to stay here?
I'll probably spend a couple hours a day.
Couple hours a day?
Yeah.
All right. I have bad news. I think Oliver's getting to like you. Go ahead and make an awareness test over 6 days. I'm going to have you make this with 5 points of favor.
Oh my god, really?
That's crazy.
It's
it's not
5.
Wow, with how many points of favor?
Yeah, no, I rolled
That's crazy.
shit.
That's crazy. Over the time of you kind of sitting here and talking with him, you realize there's something behind his eyes. There's something that he seems like he's holding on to very heavily that is, that's kind of seems to be haunting him a little bit. He does a really good job of hiding it, either on purpose or by accident, generally because he changes the subject or apologizes like he normally does. But it seems like every once in a while there's something about you that ticks him off a little bit. And he's never mentioned anything about it. He's never even come close to that type of topic.
I don't plan to press him about it. I'll just kind of make a mental note.
Right. At one of the days, so probably about the 3rd day in roughly, as you're walking out, you'll walk up to Alex and being on the deck, leaning back, kind of just tinkering with a device of some sort. And as you walk out, Alex will not even look up from the device and say, "Is there anything you need to know about the contract?"
Well, I've never been to the continent. Is there anything I should be aware of when it comes to the location?
Yeah, the giant hole in the middle of the world. That would probably be something.
The hole in the middle of the world.
I mean, at first glance, it probably won't look like a hole. It'll kind of look like a giant storm leading to the sky, but yes.
And are you going to make me ask you what the storm is?
Called the Maelstrom. It's kind of a defining feature of Chimeros right now, the territory that we're going to. It seems to be why all of the royals have so much hype around this area, why so many are going right now. The Princess of Kaino, Cora, was gone when we were in Kaino because she's on her way there right now. I would hazard to say that there's something much greater beyond the surface there. Royals don't gather for no reason. Royals don't send themselves over their escorts for something small. You're gonna be my eyes and ears. Until something happens, and I'm sure that something is gonna be coming sooner rather than later. We have a little bit of inspection to do, a little bit of espionage, and then we'll be taking action. You're in for the long haul. I hope you know that.
Wonderful. My cabin will rot without me. My gardens will all die.
Huh. They say, as they just kind of disappear for a moment, and then come back holding one of your cabbages. You can tell it's yours. I think it'll be fine. I'll take care of it.
Oh.
And as they hold the cabbage out, they pull one leaf off and they nibble on it for a second. They go, "You're quite good at this."
Thank you. Okay, yeah, and sorry. And I'm just... keeping an eye out for the time being. Nothing in specific, just reporting back.
That should be fine. And they hold the cabbage out in one hand as they continue looking at you. And Ari and Orion cock their head and approach. And Alex looks over at them and says, "You should probably cook with this. It's absolutely delightful." And Ari and Orion grab it and they look at each other and they kind of get like a devious glare at each other as they dart off to the kitchen area.
I don't say this often, but I'm a little scared about what they're going to do with it.
How often do you cook for yourself, Cyreil?
Occasionally.
Occasionally. You are going to witness something spectacular that I'm sure you are going to admit to nobody. They look back down at their device, continue tinkering with it, and they say, "I'll see you at supper."
I'll see you then.
They're just kind of awkwardly standing there at this point, and there's a moment of tenseness where you just kind of have nowhere to go because you kind of had your conversation with each person, and you don't really have a quarters that's not shared or being taken up right now.
I just kind of like shift, like step to the left, and then like and then step back, and then I just kind of like find a corner. I like walk away and find a corner of the ship to go and like sit down and write in my books.
All right. And it's about an hour and a half before you are invited to supper, which is in the small kitchen area at the front side of the deck. When you see this magnificent like salad and meat and starches, rices, like this beautiful banquet basically that's been built in front of you.
I sit down. I look at, I would presume, Orion and Ari, and I'll squint at them. Did you do this? Did you get someone else to do this? Did the kid summon magical food?
Oliver shakes his head, and Ari gives you the exasperated glare and says, "No, we cooked like people."
I slowly nod. It's not poisoned.
No, it's your cabbage. Did you poison your cabbage?
Why would I poison my cabbage?
Why would I poison your food?
I don't know, because you're mean.
I'm mean.
You're the one that punched me. You remember that?
You never punched anyone?
Not for no reason.
You must be quite mean. Or perhaps just a fool to assume I had no reason.
I look down and start eating the food.
The moment you take your first bite, it is like nothing you've ever tasted before. You can tell by the way that it is your own food. Like, you recognize the taste and the texture of your own produce that you've been growing for so long. You've become accustomed to this. But there's some way, some fashion of what they've done to this. You can tell, I mean, you can recognize magic, you can recognize mana. Mana flows through you. You can tell there's no magic here. This is just the best cooking you've ever had in your entire life.
I squint at it, and I look back up and I say, not bad.
Ari stares at you as she eats.
I stare back.
And that is how all of dinner goes. Orion is in between you two, and he's like, okay. Okay. And he like kind of looks up, and he goes to say something, looks at Alex, looks at Ollie, and then looks at you two and goes, never mind. And once everything is finished, Orion comes and cleans up the table and everything like that. And Orion says, if you want any seconds there, it's available in the kitchen.
Sure. I'll like wait until like I, in my own head, have decided that that was forgotten before I go get more.
Luckily, your memory isn't that strong, so you go back probably about 30 minutes later. And as you go to grab the food, Ari is standing there, and she says, were you just waiting to hope that everybody forgot that they offered seconds?
It's oddly specific.
Isn't it?
No. I was just letting my food sit before I got more.
Ah, yes. You seem like someone who'd like your food cold.
You're hilarious.
I made tea if you want some. No.
That sounds nice.
It's not poisoned.
I wasn't gonna ask.
And she sits down and she kind of loosens up, grabs her nose, rubs her eyes. I'm not supposed to be here. You're not supposed to be here. None of us are supposed to be here. But that goes without saying.
On the boat? Did we get on the wrong boat?
Your memories are shattered, aren't they? Things don't line up. Don't make sense.
You know that's supposed to be private information.
That's why I'm only telling you.
How do you know? You knew me?
I did. For years. Pleasant experience, may I say.
I think it's the first time I've ever heard that.
She's like kind of like staggering a little bit, and she's like kind of, her face is a little bit scrunched, but she's like, it's true. It's extremely true. It's the truest thing I think I've ever said.
You have weird friends.
Well, you're about to have weird friends too.
I don't have friends.
Then the next month of your life is going to be very difficult.
I already knew that.
Much worse than you think. Not something simple like world-ending combat or some terrible decision that you'll have to make. No. I'm sorry, Cyreil. And she puts like a hand out. Like almost like puts a hand on your hand and says, you're gonna be living with other people. And she says it with like a level of humor, but almost like a level of, I know what you're feeling right now.
His face kind of falls, and he like looks at her like, no.
5 others.
5? Fuck. God.
And she kind of leans back and goes, I know, I'm sorry. It was the worst part. I tried to get it so that you could just go, I don't know, kill a dragon or something terrible and stupid. But didn't seem like we had any other options.
Okay.
I wish you a few quiet nights. At least a handful.
I will treasure them.
For a moment, she looks at you tensely and breaks out laughing and sips her tea.
How do you put up with your friends?
She looks over, and there's a little porthole in the door where you can see Orion and Oliver kind of like playing. Ollie's got the big spells going on, big pretty, light shows going on. Orion's like looking, he trips at one point. Alex looks down and then just keeps tinkering, and they're all just doing their thing essentially. And Ari says, I don't think I could go a day without any of them. But it's helpful because I've lost every single one of them. There's some type of value that you'll never get another way.
Well, I hope you don't have to go through that again.
I won't.
Good.
I hope you find pleasure in your nuisances, Cyreil. Again. I'd like to believe there was a time where you did. But I don't know if that's true. As you've probably recognized up to this point, you are temporally dissonant, to say the least. There is something wrong with you being here in the first place. Your downfall, Cyreil, is chrono madness. Over the past few years, it's become increasingly obvious that Cyreil doesn't remember history the way everybody else does. Some places have new names. Events that were allegedly hundreds of years ago seem like they were only decades ago in his mind. Simply, Cyreil's soul doesn't belong here. Periodically, Cyreil will enter madness. During madness, he is considered dazed and may hallucinate his surroundings to various effects. This may change landscapes, modify how he sees people, or change information such as maps and writing. feelings. He will often be told when he is entering madness, though this information can be briefly occluded, especially in tense moments. Madness will continue to strike until Cyreil discovers the source of it and counteracts it in some way.
Is there anything you can tell me about when we knew each other?
As somebody who studies so much, I'm sure you understand that there's many subjects I have to dance around with something like this. Should your memories all flood back in an instant, you might just keel over and die. But while being careful about it. I remember you having friends and going on missions. I would create a war strategy over the course of hours and hours. I think a few of them one of them took me a week. And it was almost entertaining at one point to watch the different ways you'd bend and deceive me. Make everything end up okay. The most important part was that you did it a way that I told you not to. You became a little bit predictable after a while. Suddenly I was able to use that against you. But I never told you that. Not until today.
I'm hurt.
Really? I thought it was impressive, personally.
I never said it wasn't. I just said I was hurt.
I'd expect no less from you. I wish you the best of luck in extorting your friends.
Same goes to you.
And with that, she kind of stands up. She grabs your tea and her tea. She puts them on a platter. She sets them up on the counter. And she goes to walk outside to go reconvene with these three over here. And as she opens the door, before she opens it, she closes it again. And she goes, "You didn't correct me when I called them your friends." And then she walks outside.
I'll just stay a while and think.
Okay. They've gone out and they've reconvened. And for a moment, you watch as Orion goes to, like, walk in. Like, he stretches out a hand and he goes to, like, make his way over there. And Ari just kind of grabs at his elbow, smacks him on the back of the head, and he just turns around and looks down and just waddles back. And before too long, it seems like there is a shoreline encroaching. Is there any final questions or things you would like to do?
I don't think so.
All right. If that's the case, welcome, Cyreil, to Chimeros.